First of all, we are moving towards second phase. The first phase was entirely about understanding how to structure an essay. And we learned how to write introduction, how to structure thesis, body, conclusion, everything. Now, these week-wise classes are meant to give you content, and not only give you content, like I can simply give you PDFs, but these classes are to make you internalize those content. And after these week-wise sessions and PDFs, you will not have dearth of knowledge. You will not feel that while I know what is the meaning of essay, I know how to structure it, but I don't have quality content. So this is the purpose of having these classes. Now I have tried to bring all my knowledge in these 26 pages with respect to women in social justice, but it is not possible. So in class, I will be saying something more, and those illustration also you have to note it down in this notes itself. Okay, and you can take the printout. If you have iPad, you can write in the PDF itself and save it. Whatever is suitable for you, you can write it. But after this, you don't need to read anything else for women in social justice. Just master this content. This content, if you are able to reciprocate in the examination hall with your own style, that's completely possible that you will score 130 plus marks, because it has a lot of content and a lot of options. So the first theme, women, and why I have used PYQs to provide you content is that if you see what type of essay UPSC is asking, there is a clear-cut pattern. There is a clear-cut direction that UPSC is showing. Since the year 2018, when the pattern started tilting towards philosophical essay, there is a clear indication that these are the important themes on which there are particular quotations or particular topic which is being asked. But the theme and the essence remains same. That is why having content structured with PYQ will have larger impact compared to if I just give you a 15 pages write up on women. That will not help you much as retaining content with respect to PYQs. Okay, so the first essay through which we will understand and learn the content on women is girls are weighed down by restrictions, boys with demands, two equally harmful discipline. Okay, 2023 essay topic. Now, here I have given you possible introduction. There are 2-3 options which will be provided for each of the essay topic. Now, the option one is that I will start from a beautiful quotation of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Empowering women is a prerequisite for creating a good nation. Now, what does this quotation means? It means that if you want to become a nation which is prospering in all the directions, whether it is sociologically, culturally, economically, you need to uplift your 50% population. Otherwise, what will happen is your development will be skewed, your society will be backward, you will be culturally having stigmas and dogmas, and that will not make your nation a good nation. So this is what Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam wanted to say. So if I start from this, it is giving a good pitch, a good beginning to my essay. Now I have included one of the real historical post-independence example. I will give you more. In 1966, when Indira Gandhi became India's first women prime minister, so many believed that once a prime minister, a woman will become prime minister, all the problems of women will get solved. But now also decades later, after 5 decades later, 6 decades later, still a young girl in a rural classroom hesitates to speak, burdened by centuries of expectations. So see, if she is outspoken, she is named and shamed. If you are a student of sociology, you must have read a lots of case study with respect to panchayats, in which the observation was that once a woman becomes sarpanch, and then also if she is very outspoken, she is stigmatized. She is stigmatized, and this is something now which you will see that even in society, if a man is taking alcohol, drinking alcohol, smoking, it's fine. If the moment you will see a woman doing the same thing, her character will be assassinated. So this is the first thing which I had included. So what does it capture? Even when women became the leader, the utmost leader, still there remains a paradox at ground level. a land where women have led nations and space missions. Mangalyaan, you must have read, even if you haven't watched that movie, because that movie is not capturing the real essence. But you must be knowing that there are missions. The Agni missiles after Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is being built by women. Okay, so yet millions remain confined by invisible social chain. Invisible social chain. Why it is invisible? Because it is totally accepted. So if in a family, if there is a demand of car, TV from the family of girl, by the family of boy, then it's perfectly fine. It is seen as something very, very cultural in our society, but it is patriarchal. It is a kind of dowry, after all. So you need to understand that even if the things are happening, it is not raising any eyebrows in our society. This you need to understand. This is the internalization that you need to have. Now, societal norms and expectation, both norms and expectation. What is the difference? So norms are that a woman, if she's going through the cycle of periods, she cannot do worship. This is a norm. Okay. Expectation, if I have to say, then what can be that? Expectation is that now, if you are a woman, you have to work at home. You have to rear child. Even if you are working, you still have to be a homemaker as well. Double shift. There is a concept of double shift given by Erle Hochschild, that even if a woman is working, even if a woman is earning more than the counterpart, male counterpart, still she has to perform all the household chores, which is changing, which is positively changing in specifically in the metro cities. But this is what is the expectation, the expected role from women. Women cannot be bold. Women cannot be upfront, blunt. Okay, and a boy similarly cannot cry. A boy cannot be emotional. A boy cannot, if a boy wants that, okay, I will do the household work and my wife will go and work. Okay, that boy will be named and shamed like anything. No? There are so many connotations and notions that will go. Joruga Gulam and whatnot. Okay, so you are not man enough. And there are so many concepts which are there, Sigma male and whatnot. Okay, so this is the deeper bias. This is the deeper bias which exists for both the gender. This is what the essence of essay topic is. So it is limiting the freedom, restricting the education, and undervalue their voice as well. How it is limiting the freedom? It is simply said now, if some crime happens at night. So the first thing that will be said by people is that why she was going at night. Okay, so this is limiting the freedom. There was some Pinjada Tod campaign done by, I think, in Jamia Millia Islamia or some college in Delhi itself by girls. And there was some protest which happened. No, we will go and now roam around our city after 8 o'clock because there were some restrictions put by the hostel. Okay. Then restrict education. Education is restricted. Even if you will have education, you will have education at a place which is in proximity, a school, a college which is in proximity. Okay, then mostly social science related education, not STEM, science and technology, engineering, mathematics. Even if she had studied STEM, she will not be promoted to go for higher studies, PhD, etc. The ratio goes on decreasing as you go above the ladder. So that is the restricting education. And undervalue their voices. That what is their expectation? If a city is built, okay, so the city should be built inclusively, supporting and respecting the demand of all the genders. I'm not just telling male and female, but also third gender. So that is how it should be built. But how many elections are swayed based on the women's safety? There was some buzz around 2013 when Nirbhaya cases happened. There was some buzz, but later on it has taken a backseat. So the voice of women, it also gets undervalued. So true empowerment, therefore, lies not in policy. It's not just ki you will say beti bachao, beti padhao. Just policy cannot make a change. But in mindset, transforming the mindset, it is engraved in our mind. Allowing every girl to dream without permission and every woman to live without fear. This is what is needed. Okay. So this is the one of the analysis that you need to understand. And you This is a weapon which you can utilize in any kind of women related essay, the quotations, everything. The three essays will have so much of content that you need not fear any women related issue. Okay. Option 2 is there is a very beautiful quotation. I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own, even if I'm men. Okay. I am also not free until the women counterpart is now also not completely free. Even if her restrictions, even if her problems are not my problems, because my gender is different, still, now I will not be completely free. Okay, this is a very beautiful quotation which you can put up, and it perfectly encapsulates gender equality. Okay, this is a very beautiful quotation which can be used. Now, one afternoon, there is an anecdote which I have used here. One afternoon, two school friends sat quietly by the village well after school. There are village wells if you go to villages, and there is a surrounding tree. Children usually sat there and talk. So, watching women draw water, Meera said that it feels like even our dreams have boundaries. Okay. So, what is our dream? Now, first of all, what is the identity of a woman? A mother, okay, a sister, a wife. What about the identity which shows her trait and talent and quality? No? So, in that respect, she is saying. So the boy, the Arav, smiled faintly, maybe, but we too are told never to cry, never to falter. No, we cannot falter. And it is said by the Honorable Supreme Court as well that until you are mentally fit, this is your duty to work and rear your family. Now, this is something again putting a restriction. Just because you are a boy, the expectation is that you have to rear the family, you have to earn. Again, this is also not gender equality. This is also a patriarchy, which is making a boy suffer in the society. Okay. Both fell silent, realizing how society blind girls with restrictions and boys with expectations. So, two equally limiting burdens. This is a beautiful anecdote which can be written in any of the essays. Now, there is another very beautiful point which was given by Kofi Annan. He was the head of United Nations. So he said that gender equality is more than a goal in itself. It's not something like a goal, $5 trillion economy. Gender equality is not like this. It is a precondition for meeting the challenge of reducing poverty, promoting sustainable development, and building good governance. If there is no gender equality, there can never be elimination or reduction of poverty. There cannot be promotion of sustainable development or a good governance. So it is a prerequisite. It is not just a goal. It is a prerequisite for many other goals that we want to achieve as a society, as a progressive society. So true equality therefore lies in freeing both women and men from these invisible social walls. Okay, patriarchy is affecting both the gender. Because when women rise, the entire nation stands taller. It is said, now, when you educate a man, you educate a man. When you educate a woman, you educate a generation. Okay. Now go back to the ethics class. Dr. Kalam, what he had said. Dr. Kalam had said that the mother is the first teacher. Okay. So from there, you have to connect the dots. Now, another option is that you can start. This I have taken from a very beautiful book of Michelle Obama. So I had read that book, and that's a very beautiful book. So she had said that there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. And there is no limit. The sky is also not the limit. Okay. Once declared, no, and yet across societies, women's dreams are often tethered to tradition. Now, tethered means your goals, your aspirations, your way of life will have to be in tune with traditions, customs, and that those tradition and customs are putting you around a four wall. This is what she want to say. From childhood, girls are taught to be quiet, compliant and invisible. Compliant means whatever parents will say, whatever teacher will say, whatever society will say. You have to just obey it without questioning it. You have to be quiet. You cannot be loud. No, invisible. Okay, invisible. How invisible? Now having a parda or ghungat is like hiding your identity. It is like embracing invisibility. So this is how now you cannot embrace your identity. While boys are rewarded for dominance, stoicism, and ambition. Okay. So if you are ambitious, if you are stoic, now you are like hustle. You believe in hustle culture. Yesterday, not yesterday, I think day before yesterday, when I was discussing, I think the in ethics philosophy, I had talked about the theory of niche, okay, and the hustle culture. So hustle culture also promotes a kind of a manly culture, so-called manly culture, okay, and ambition. You have to be ambitious. You cannot be content. You are a man. You have to grow. You have to embrace pain. Why it is so? A man can also live peacefully. A man can also be a homemaker. What is the problem with it? Why he need to be a dominant person? Okay, so this is what is said in her book. But feminism, as Bell Hook is another a very big feminist, and from her book I have taken this: a movement to end sexism, sexist exploitation, and oppression. When half the population is asked to shrink, the nation cannot rise. Empowerment is not a favor, it is the demand of justice. Now, what does it mean? So, there are lots of movements which are happening across the universe and world. Now, to end sexism, now the value to see the society from the angle of difference of sex. Okay, that bias is called as sexism. Sexist exploitation, which is happening across the industries. You see media, you will see that now often the women journalists are shown as something like eye candy. Now, eye candy representation of women in media, in journalism, is an example of sexist exploitation. Or in the item songs, she is compared to a commodity, something like tandoori murgi and whatnot. You would have heard all these item songs. So these are trying to commodify, or simply an advertisement of deodorant. A guy has put a deodorant, five girls are running. So all these things are sexist exploitation and oppression. Though you would have read a lot in the newspapers, and you would have seen as well. When half the population is asked to shrink, shrink is like, now if I have around 100 yard of land, okay, and there are men and women will be said that to compromise and just live. 50% of women will be living in 20 yards, and 80 yards may the men will be living. This is like shrinking your position, shrinking your demand. So there is another data which says that women are having very less ownership in terms of land, finances. The number of CEOs, etc., are very less. And this is a journey which has happened. It is not like one will say, okay, so in this time, women are encouraged in so many society, why they haven't become equal. This is not like a chemical formula. Same theory is given for the erstwhile scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. 70 years have happened, why you are not able to compete. This is not the thing. This is a historical oppression, historical wrongdoing. So this will take time. This is a gradual thing. And still there are invisible inequality which is existing, and that needs to be thoughted or changed with the mindset. And mindset change takes even more time. Okay. So it's a very slow process. So empowerment is not a favor. You are not doing any favor. Okay, it is the demand of justice. Justice cannot happen in a society if there is no women empowerment. This is what she wanted to say. Okay, so this has been taken from book. In body, I will use movies, popular culture as well to give you more content, not just bound you by general study, data and fact and knowledge. Expand your horizon. So in body, I will first try to open the dimension. Girls weighed down by restrictions, boys burdened with demand. So how girls are down by the weight of restrictions, that I will explain. So from the birth itself, I had discussed this in the previous classes as well, that all the things, the celebration of her birth is gender sensitive, gender specific, toys are gender specific, and she is told that you need to adjust. Even you will see that there was some horrific incidents that happened nearby, Greater Noida, with one of the women, and it was said by the parents when she was asking for help that you need to adjust. So this is what is taught since the birth. Their laughter must be measured. She cannot laugh loudly. Okay. Their clothes should be appropriate. Their ambition should be realistic. She cannot have no ambitions which is like Kalpana Chawla. When Kalpana Chawla said to the parents that I want to do, first of all, engineering, they were like, no, 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 you cannot do. Women are not equal to boys, and you need to marry. There is a specific age, this and that. But she stood. She stood firm that this I need to do. And then she did masters. She went to USA. She chased the dream. When she was a child, so often she used to have debate with boys. She used to assert what is less in us. So in childhood itself, she used to watch stars because stars used to show her that there is no limitation. No, there is no limitation, and it was an escape from the social reality for her. And then what she did is history. She inspired. She come from one of the patriarchal, you can say, headquarter of India. She comes from that society, and she rises to that level. This is what can happen if there is no limitation. Now, and this is what a women can achieve. There is another now very beautiful book, The Second Sex, written by Simon de Beauvoir. Is one of the great philosophers. He says that one is not born, but rather becomes a woman. Okay, society manufactures that becoming through 1,000 invisible controls. There are so many controls on her laughter, on how she will speak, what she will wear, what she will eat, even eating. Huh? I was reading one of the historical texts in which it was written that if a woman becomes a widow, she cannot eat non-veg. Okay, this is written. Okay, I was reading another text, historical text, and it was there was a kind of a breast tax in the state of Kerala. And what was it? That a woman coming from the so-called lower caste, she cannot cover her upper body, and for that there was a revolt altogether. That happened in our society. Okay, and this is how you need to understand the nuances. Historicity is very, very important. Whenever you will be writing the essay, you will have to use the historicity. Okay. Now in India, though legal equality is guaranteed, in constitution it is written, no, right to equality, everything is written in constitution. But in ground, social restrictions remains very, very powerful. Huh? So in rural Haryana, a girl walking home from school alone still invites judgment. And there was a very horrific incident which happened recently in Haryana. I think a 18 or 19-year-old girl was brutally raped, murdered. That had happened recently, I think 1 or 2 months ago. Okay. And there was nothing wrong in her cloth, nothing wrong in her character. Okay. And I was reading one of the news in which there are some people who are doing wrong with women who had died by going and trying to go in the grave and do wrong. Now, what is wrong about her cloth? She has to die, even died. So all these connotations and notions are just to cement the patriarchy. Okay. There was a famous saying by one of the chief ministers of Uttar Pradesh that ladke hain galti ho jati. Boys are there and they can have some small mistakes like raping a girl. So this was, you can go and search. This is the particular thing said by one of the former chief ministers of Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so dress codes in school, workplaces, and even social media debates often hold women responsible for provoking attention. Even I was very amazed to and amazed is the wrong word. I was blown away by reading things like what happened with Nirbhaya was also because of her mistake. Okay, so this also is being justified. And in social media, you will see so many sick mindset people justifying anything. So films like, you should watch this movie I had watched, Lipstick Under My Burqa, or Past Beautifully. It captures the struggle between personal desire and societal expectations. Okay, so what is your personal desire? How you want? Now, if a woman is born, she has also desire how she wants to look, and she should have control over her body. But there is a societal expectation. She has to navigate both. This has been beautifully encapsulated and captured in the movie Lipstick Under My Burqa. Okay. Education, often hailed as the great equalizer, still has gendered bias. I was telling you that in the curriculums, there have been things like, if there is ugly, a girl will be shown. no? A girl who had not so fair complexion. This will be shown. Okay. So there is a gender bias even in education. Okay. In many parts of India, girls drop out before completing secondary school, no, due to early marriages. Not only early marriages. If the secondary school is 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers far, she will not be allowed. No? Safety concerns and this and that. Okay. And household duties. If she becomes 12, 13 years old, she has to learn. You have to go. You are a pariah, then you have to go to different house. So you have to learn all these skills. Okay. So-called mandatory skills. So Malala Yousafzai's story from neighboring Pakistan, you must have heard. No? What she was wanting to go to school. This was just her desire. Yeah? And she was shot for wanting an education. This can be the brutality of the religious fanatic people. Okay. Yet defying bullets with courage and intellect, she became a symbol of women empowerment across the world. Career choices, they are too influenced by gender stereotypes, even in metropolitan. So STEM field, as I told, remain male dominated. And there are global gender gap reports, which are saying loudly that India is among the lowest in female labor force participation. You cannot even compare India with Nordic countries or East Asian, even East Asian country. What about Nordic countries? They are the front runner. Okay. So ironically, while women like Dr. Tessie Thomas, now which hailed as India's missile women, break ceiling in defense researches. I was talking about Agni missiles. He's the woman behind that. Millions are still expected to find respectable jobs within the limit of domestic convenience. There are a concept of respectable jobs as well. Now, so if now I have seen personally while I was born in Delhi, so I have seen in nearby states of Delhi, there is a very respectable job for a girl. She does 12th, she will complete a JVT degree, she will become a primary teacher. This is so much prevalent that I used to see that most often. This is what is a respectable and convenient job for her. Okay. Now, marriage often becomes the final reinforcement of these restrictions. After marriage, so you have become married. Now, again, even more restrictions to her dream, to her aspirations. Whether through child marriage in rural India or social pressure to marry early in urban spaces. Even there are expected ages. Like if you have done even engineering, you are working in multinational company in Bangalore, there is a age no, bracket 24, 25, maximum 27, 28. You will have to marry. This is the expectations from the society. Once you cross 30 years, there will be very less options available for you because a boy's family will judge you what she was doing. What is her character? All of these questions will be raised. Okay. And women are reminded that self-worth lies in family identity. Now, often it is said that women are honor of family. Okay, women are honor of family. So what is about her honor? Honor, individual aspirations, individual qualities. What about that? Okay. The unpaid domestic labor, they contribute cooking, caregiving, emotional management, and whatnot. But economically, it has never counted. Shashi Tharoor had raised this even in the parliament, but nothing happened no, on concrete level. So even now, what our mothers have sacrificed for us, this is seen as something not having any kind of economical base. No? So this is the harsh reality. As Virginia Woolf lamented, for most of history, Anonymous was a woman. For most of the history. You see, you will hear a lot about, if you see the number of scholars, okay, in our Indian history, literature scholars, how many are women? And number of kings, how many are women? I was talking about medieval history, I talked about two people, no? Two women. No? So there are only two examples. So women have become anonymous. No? This is what has happened in most of the history. This you need to quote. This is a very powerful line. Now, boys, now let's talk about how patriarchy affects boy. There is a burden of demand. No? Huge expectations. Nowadays, I have seen that matrimonial alliance have become like a so now even people are checking your CIBIL score of boys. No? If the CIBIL score is bad, marriage is broken in the state of Maharashtra. Now, what sort of what is this? Now, they will start the entire discussion with what is your package? How much you earn? Do you have your own flat? Do you have your own car? No, this is all patriarchy. You should have educated your girl and let her achieve her aspirations. Why you have made now? First of all, you ruined her life, and now what you are trying to do is you are ruining other genders' life as well. Now, by making them feel that you have to do this, you have to earn. Your only role is like an ATM, so it is destroying both the gender. Okay, this is what is happening, and this is a harsh reality. Since I teach sociology as well, so this is I'm reading every day, and I'm amazed by all these stories. There have been a story, I think, in Uttar Pradesh that when a boy, no, he was ready for marriage when he went and he